Oh hey, it's Wes, and today we're taking a quick look at the CaTeFo V-Mount battery adapter plate. Why we're looking at something so small? Well, you know me, I like batteries, I like USB power. You shouldn't be surprised at this point. And quick apology, when I filmed the A-roll, I was using a microphone setup that totally didn't work out, so I've had to overdub this. Sorry if it looks kind of clunky. Let's do this. If you've been in the production world for a decent amount of time, you probably have a ton of V-Mount batteries sitting around, and you can convert those into powerful battery banks. Now, I know what you might be thinking, you can get a battery bank on the cheap, one that costs less than this. This comes in at $100 US. But, two things about that. Number one, those battery banks often don't have independent outputs. Their outputs will reset and rebalance each other depending on what is plugged in. This one has separate outputs. And number two, it adds up over time. If you have a bunch of V-Mount batteries, you can get a ton of value out of these with this one adapter plate. So we have USB-C input-output here, USB-A over here. We have a 12-volt 3-amp. We have the regular DTAP on one side, another one on the other side. Yep, there are two of them. And last on this side, an 8-volt 3-amp. So we have a lot of versatility, a lot of different outputs on this plate. More than most V-Mount batteries have, even the new advanced ones with USB-C, USB-A. And while they claim 20-volt 3-amp for both of the USB outputs, I tested this, I got 65 watts, which is slightly more than that on the USB-C, while outputting 15 watts to my iPhone charger. So clearly we have totally separate circuits going on here that can each do 60 watts or more, which is impressive for something of this size. Comes with a whole bunch of screws and Allen keys, which I promptly lost, but maybe you're not completely out of your mind like I am, and you'll manage to hang on to them so that you can mount it to various things. Now, most people would mount this to a cheese plate and then mount that to something else. It would be nice if you had a little more mounting options, maybe at the top or bottom. I don't know if they could fit more screw holes in here. We'll open it up and have a look at that soon and see if they could. But I'd rather this be my cheese plate and my V-Mount plate. It's nice to have two things in one, take up as little space as possible. So my use case for this is I have a 360 video booth and I have a light on the top and I have my iPhone. Both of them need quite a bit of power to run, but if I plug them into a V-Mount battery that has two outputs, it doesn't get power delivery to both of them. If I plug it into the battery banks that I have 3, it still doesn't provide enough power to both at the same time. Whereas this one, no problem whatsoever, high power to the light, full power delivery to my phone. Bada bing, bada boom, very impressed. And so by doing this, I can move all my battery weight, take the battery from being on the back of the light and move it all the way down to the bottom of the boom arm so that I don't have a lot of weight to swing that 360 booth around, and it keeps things a lot steadier. And also we've got this beautiful little metal lever on the side for release. Feels fantastic. Alright, let's get out our iFixit toolkit, crack it open, and see what's inside. Now, while we're doing that, I'll give you my caveat. CaTeFo did send me this for review. They definitely didn't ask me to open it up though, but I'm a technologist and I can't wait to see how they implemented this and see if there's any more room for more mounting points. Alright, we are deep inside this adapter plate. Here we see the power leads coming from the V-Mount battery, nice and thick and beefy. And we have already a power regulating capacitor that keeps our DC voltage nice and smooth. We have what appears to be separate voltage regulators for each of our outputs. I expected the DTAP outputs to be on the same circuit, but they're not. And we have our voltage step-down regulators for our 8-volt and 12-volt outputs. And again, we have separate chipsets for our USB-A and USB-C outputs. And again, lots of capacitors to keep that line regulation. Honestly, more stuff going on in here than I expected, and that's why the outputs appear to operate entirely independently. They are independent, so this thing can really suck a lot of power out of a V-Mount battery. And so it doesn't look like there's a lot of extra room to put mounting holes in this. They put them where they could. They made some space in the circuit board. Even so, it'd be nice if there's maybe a piece on top that would allow for more mounting options. Just make it a little bit bigger, a little bit more of a cheese plate functionality. And I might have missed before, but you can also charge your V-Mount battery through this. And let's give this a test and see just how much power this will put into a V-Mount battery when you're charging. Let's put it together before we do that so we don't cause any horrible accidents. Alright, we are on and locked. Let's open up our ISDT power outputs. This allows us to measure the output from our very powerful USB-C power supply and see how much power we're putting into this battery through the V-mount plate. Let's look closer here. So here we have already over 60 watts, and this power supply maxes out at 65 watts. So this is taking all the charge that it can and putting it into this V-mount battery. Alright, just to be thorough, let's plug it into something with over 100 watts of USB power, the MacBook Pro charger, and yeah, it looks like it maxes out around 60 watts of charging, which honestly, that's about all that's safe for charging a battery such as this anyway. So there you have it. The CaTeFo V-Mount battery adapter plate gives you all the power you need. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. If you want to pick one up, please use the link down in the description to help support this channel and feed my fat cats. Now go take some photos and some very well powered videos.